Good morning. Welcome to First Chapter Fun. This is episode 11. I messed up yesterday. I thought it was episode 9, but it wasn't. It was episode 10, so today is episode 11. Can you believe it? 11 already, with many, many more to come. Hi, audio shelf. Is that Brad or is it Brittany? Who is here with us today? Brad's here. Hi, Brad. How you doing, Brad? Hope everything's well in these crazy times. So it's episode number 11. Hi, Amy. And today I'm very glad Amy's here. Hi, Amy. Because we have her book today. But if you haven't joined before, First Chapter Fun started 10 episodes ago, 11 episodes today, where I decided to read the first chapter of a book every day for the next, are you ready? 51 days. Including the 10 that have just gone. So we actually have 51 readings lined up, and then after that I'll probably drop it down to once or twice a week, because got to get stuff done as well. Got books to write. Come on, that was a whip cracking, was a really bad one. Anyway, how is everyone doing? Lovely to see you, Carla. Lovely to see you, Jennifer, and we have wonderful Ritz joining as well. That's fantastic. Hope you're all coping and doing well, and keep on going, because such strange times. Seems to have become a new normal though, staying inside. It's really quite weird. Oh, we have Sonika as well, the reading beauty. Wait a minute, there we go, just give her a little wave. Look, I'll give you a wave live. Look at that, whoa. Virtual and IRL. So without further ado, let me introduce you to today's book. This is tricky because I'm going to have to angle it properly. There we go. So up there, there we go. I Know How This Ends by Amy Impellizzeri, with the Italian accent. How's that for fun? So Amy is, she says, let me tell you what she says. And she's here, she's watching. You can ask her lots of questions. Amy is a reformed corporate litigator and award-winning author. Her other novels include The Truth About Thea, Secrets of Worry Dolls, and Lemongrass Hope. And I asked her, I said, so how would you describe your books? What genre would you fit them into? And she says they are contemporary time-bending fiction filled with suspense and always with a massive, massive twist, massive twisty surprise at the end. So I'm in, I'm all in. And we're going to read, I'm going to read from, dang it, hold on a minute. Can't do two things at once apparently. There. So this is the one I'm going to read from. I Know How This Ends. I don't know how it ends because I haven't read it yet, but let me introduce you. So don't forget, we have Amy is on Facebook Live right now, and I'm going to save this episode as always. You can go back and watch it again if you like, and you can ask Amy questions, leave her comments, and just join in the fun. So we have, oh look at that, we have Hank, the one and only Hank Philippi Ryan from Boston joining in. Hi Hank. Hank's fantastic. I have to read her book. She's absolutely amazing. And we have Natalie, who says she just got off a conference call. I'm so glad you could join us. And we have Ali. It's amazing. So we have quite a number of viewers today. This is great. So shall we get stuck in? Because you don't want to hear me go on and on, do you? No. You want to hear Amy's time-bending fiction book, don't you? And I don't blame you. So let's get started with the blurb. This is I Know How It Ends. What if you finally stopped running away from the story you were always meant to tell? I Know How This Ends is a time-bending novel about a young reporter swept into a story about family secrets and twisted fate when time travellers collide. In the spring of 2020, an ambitious journalist, Rory Garcia, gets detoured on her way to a protest at New York City Hall and stumbles upon the commencement ceremony of a very special class, composed completely of 37 students born to women who were pregnant on 9/11. They are, in fact, the very first graduating high school class of true 9/11 survivors. Valedictorian Hope Campton is scheduled to give the commencement speech for the class at Carnegie Hall, but delays and absences threaten to ruin the day. While Rory's waiting, a mysterious stranger tells her a time-bending tale about epic love, loss and sacrifice, and suddenly the story Rory thinks she's covering becomes so much more. All right, so that was the blurb of I Know How This Ends, and here is the prologue and part of chapter 1. February 11th, 2001. Prologue. There's a moment before I drown that I know the truth. Just before my head goes under the water is a moment in which I feel such clarity that I think I must be dying. No one should know so certainly all the things I suddenly know and still go about their life as before. Even this, the acknowledgement of my clarity, is a thought that as it forms, I fear is just too clear and too focused to be trusted. Ian and I have come on this trip to get away, but I know that in reality he's trying to help me. I suspect he'd like to start a family, but when I bring it up, he keeps telling me to focus only on myself. Ian wants so badly to cure me. He can't, of course. No one has been able to. No therapist, no psychiatrist, and certainly not Ian. Drugs have been powerless. Behavioural therapy has been fruitless. I've read articles about electroconvulsive therapy from the 1940s, shoddily referred to by the mainstream media as shock therapy, and dismissed summarily as well. And I've wondered if I should beg for that. It seems cruel that this method went out of vogue for reasons that seem to pertain to politics and the power of the pharmaceutical companies rather than efficacy. I'm worried about Ian's reaction, so I don't bring it up to him. I keep my research to myself. I long for something that might work, but I can't find the words to ask Ian to go to any extremes for me. I'm certain that if I ask him to find a doctor who still performs ECT, he will do so. And this fear of being indulged, rather than a fear of being dismissed, is why I don't ask. I understand, even in my compromised state, that I need to put less pressure on him, not more. Ian wants to help me so much that he'll do anything for me. I know this, and the little girl in me who still believes in unicorns and fairy tales also believes this sort of love alone should cure me. But the woman who's been struggling for a decade now knows it doesn't work that way. Sigh. A decade. Has it really been that long? Has it really been only that long? A decade ago I chose Ian. I chose Ian fully and completely because I believed, no, at that time I knew that I couldn't have a whole and happy life without him. And yet, ever since I made that choice, I've been on a downward spiral toward madness. I can't explain it. I can only feel it. And I'm taking Ian down with me, and this is my greatest sadness. I've begged him to go. I can't leave you, Kate, he says. Leave me and create a life that you want. You deserve that. I've cried night after night. I can't get well and I hate myself for that. There are nights I wonder if my life has any worth at all, but still I persist. I cling to that small fact. Every morning I wake and move forward. I am not suicidal. For all my isms and osies, I am not suicidal. My therapists and doctors emphasise this fact, almost to remind me lest I forget at any time. They share it with each other with a glee that seems misplaced to me. Yes, I want to keep living, I concede, and yet I don't have the faintest idea why. Hope, that's why, Ian says in response. He says this every single time I question. What is that? What is hope? I ask him often, and with despair. I'm losing bits of myself, and I don't know how to find them again. What is hope? I asked him just before we came on this trip. I don't even remember what that word means anymore. I've tried to remember the emotion it denotes, but my memory fails me. We're on a cruise ship named the Beatrice II. We came on board in 2011, but we're leaving in 2001 after travelling through the Bermuda Triangle, and the shock of that realisation is the reason I landed here in the water. It's the reason I'm drowning. But the miracle is not that we've gone back in time. The miracle is that suddenly, just before I drown, with a clarity I fear I cannot trust, I realise what Ian has meant all along. Hope is not a what. She's a who. Commencement Day, May 5th, 2020. Kate. The light turned green, but they still remained motionless in their cab, parallel to the Manhattan cruise terminal. Traffic and clogged streets prevented them from moving forward. Adele crooned through the car radio, and Kate craned her neck, trying to see what the new cause of the stopped traffic was, knowing, even as she did so, that she'd never be able to see. It could be a broken-down car 2 blocks away, or a collision between 2 delivery bikes 3 miles away. That was the thing about this city, Kate thought. The chain reactions were constantly happening, almost out of sight. Equal opposite reactions, each one acting on the next, until you found yourself sitting in a stopped car, fighting city traffic, trying to make it to a moment that even a short few years ago you wouldn't have believed was possible. Benton's number lit up on Kate's screen, and she pushed decline. She didn't want to discuss how very far away they still were. She didn't want to hear Benton's gentle disappointment on the other side of the line. Oh, Benton. Kate rubbed her closed eyes and thought back to those early years when she thought everything was so complicated, but really it was so very simple. She just hadn't known it yet. You can thank me for introducing you to the great love of your life. This was Benton's refrain always, and her joyous wedding toast too. Benton and Kate had first met as young women at the beginning of their adult journeys, falling in and out of love and carving their paths toward independence. In their 20s, Benton was a young lawyer at one of Manhattan's biggest law firms, and Kate was a grad student heading toward the world of academia. After Kate broke up with an artist boyfriend named Ted, or rather after he'd broken up with Kate, Benton had been adamant that Kate should meet one of her law firm colleagues, Rob Sutton. Of course, on the same day Kate met Rob Sutton, she'd also met Ian Campton, quite by accident, but also because of Benton. They'd all been at one of Benton's famous Cinque de Mayo parties, the ones she threw annually in Tribeca. In 1997, just weeks before finishing up grad school, Kate was summoned to the party by Benton to meet Rob Sutton, but at the bar, Kate actually met Ian while waiting for Rob. She ended up leaving the party with Rob as planned, but when Ian called her the next day, unplanned, Kate started seeing him instead. Something about their brief meeting at the Tribeca bar captured her. The realist and pragmatist in her hated to admit it, but there it was. Their whirlwind 6-week relationship had an end date from the minute it started, however, as Ian was on his way to Botswana for 6 months to study mystics and time travel, and while Kate was crazy about him, she wasn't crazy. Kate told herself it would indeed be nuts to wait for a man who actually believed in time travel, even though he'd made her believe in it too. As it turned out, Ian boarded a plane to Botswana and Kate let him go, and she got together with Rob Sutton soon after Ian left. Like all good whirlwind love affairs, Ian haunted her thoughts occasionally, but Kate really believed she'd made the right decision choosing Rob over Ian. Until a getaway trip years later. Benton had invited everyone on a trip, a cruise to the Bahamas, and directly through the mystical Bermuda Triangle, also called the Devil's Triangle. Kate jumped at the chance to get away. Truth be told, Rob and Kate were struggling fiercely at the time, and Kate was anxious for a vacation. She found herself reconnecting with Ian with the trip, again thanks to Benton's invitation, because, as she had come to learn, all roads always led back to Benton. By the end of that trip, Kate had become certain that her relationship with Rob Sutton had run its course. There was little left to it, and it was time to move on. There was a future with Ian, Kate was sure of it. And then something completely incredible happened at the end of that cruise, and it changed everything. Kate and Ian disembarked from that fateful trip in 2001. Benton continued scheduling trips through the Bermuda Triangle regularly, sometimes inviting Kate, sometimes not. Over the last 19 years, their relationship had become a very on-again, off-again one, and Kate had deep regrets about that fact. But recently Benton and Kate had been bonding over something completely different than a cruise to the Bahamas or a trip through the Bermuda Triangle. With this momentous occasion coming up, it seemed it would be bringing them all together again. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could all be there, filling up the room in a show of support for her? Benton asked just days ago. Yes, Kate agreed without pause. But now? Now, Kate was stuck in a cab with little hope of getting to see this thing through, and she couldn't help wondering if she'd get a chance to close out this seemingly never-ending loop of regret or not. That was I Know How This Ends. Let me get that cover back up again. The time-travelling suspense. There we go, where we are. Can you see that one? Oh, it's too much glare. There we go. And up here, there we go, by Amy Impellizzeri. I like saying that word, even with a fake Italian accent. Fantastic book. So it is contemporary time-bending fiction filled with suspense and twists, as we've just discovered in this first chapter. And I cannot wait to read more of that and find out how it all ends and how this all connects. It's interesting. So don't forget, on Facebook you can go and leave lots of comments and whatnot for Amy. And tomorrow's book, tomorrow at 11:30, there we go, we have The Chai Factor by Farah Heron. She's a fellow Torontonian. I'm kind of a fake Torontonian, about 40 kilometres away. But anyway, we'll pretend that I'm in the area anyway. So that is tomorrow's read, The Chai Factor by Farah Heron. And I hope you're all enjoying these readings as much as I am. It's so neat to see you all coming back and listening in. It's fantastic. And these are going to continue, as I mentioned, all the way until May the 6th. Believe it or not. And after that, I'll probably drop them down to once or twice a week. So, all that is left to say is I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and stay kind. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.